Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We've got a great show lined up for you. I'm Harvey Freed. Next to me, Becky Alley.
Good morning. Coming off of Friday the 13th. I hope everyone had a great, lucky day.
We saw the Tigers turning it up. And Angela Lee, you were down at the ballpark.
Yes, ludicrous. Killed it. The Tigers won, and the rain didn't stop us.
I love that.
It ain't no party like a Detroit party, especially when it's raining, and then you get a concert on top of that. What a great time, actually.
True word spoken. Nothing's going to get in our way here in the city. And, of course, we got more for you here. We got 1 hour of the Mortgage Real Estate Show. Then it's all sports here. Tiger baseball coming up at 1:10. As they get the second game off and running. I know a lot of folks are getting down there. And it's a Father's Day weekend, Becky. We might have to throw some shout-outs to the dads out there for tomorrow.
Yep, happy Father's Day, Randy Alley. Okay, and all the other fathers out there outside of mine.
I'll just say it. I'll just give a general one to all the fathers out there. And, Ange, let's talk some real estate. It's been an interesting 2025. You know, we all are always looking forward to what's the next thing, what's the next change, and change is inevitable. It's constant. Things change. Like, hey, what do you mean it's a buyer's market out there? It's a seller's market. Well, now we're to a little bit of a point, and of course it's regional, where it appears that there are more homes on the marketplace and maybe a few less buyers. So we try to bring those buyers back into the market.
Absolutely. Becky does a wonderful job of this. I know you both do. Giving buyers options. Especially, I have to shout out Becky. First-time home buyers, she kills it every time. I've had so many clients go to her, first-time home buyers, not knowing what they're doing, and she navigates it for them seamlessly.
There's so many moving parts in that too, Beck. You know?
Yeah, I mean, so the only thing that stays the same in life, and especially real estate, is change. But you're either going to be a part of that evolution of the change, or you're going to get mowed over. And this is a market where it's not if you're going to buy, when you're going to buy, it's how you're going to buy. Because it's navigating, like you said, if they're renting, how are you going to get them away from that? Do they have the money? And it's not the payment we talk about often. It's always where's the money coming from. And so when you have the buyers that have the funds already available, or if they have a donor, so that would be someone that's willing to gift them money towards their closing costs, beautiful. But if you do not have like the birth lottery, we'll say, someone that can step in and help you with those assets, there are programs that are really available to help you become a homeowner so that way you can start building your real estate portfolio, because that is key. And that's always good. I mean, it is the American dream to own real estate. It really is.
And if you own one of your own personal properties, of course, you can look into maybe buying an investment property. We've had so many families very successful at that. And now with the new DSCR loans that have been out for the last couple of years, it makes it even easier for someone out there who doesn't have a whole lot of extra money to qualify for the program to buy a rental property. We might get into a few of those things on that side. If you want to become an investor, we take your calls all morning long at 248-539-9797. I'm glad you guys brought up like that first-time home buyer, working with a great gentleman. And again, funds to close comes up so often.
Oh, God, yeah.
If anyone out there, I'm going to say this and I'll let you guys piggyback on it. There's no doubt that if you've got cash at home, you got to put that money in small increments. Got to get that money in the bank and let it season.
That's like a thing. Okay, Angela's raising her hand. Okay, so if you're watching,
come up on one of yours?
So if you're watching us live on Facebook, right, I'm going to kick it over to my girl Angel. But like, this is a huge problem. Everyone that's listening, I don't know what why everyone is like adverse to like not using the bank, but it's a huge problem. If you're buying a house, cash is not king. You have to document all your funds. My girl Angela, go ahead.
Yes, get it out of the floorboards. Get it out of the kitchen. Listen, we're not cooking in the kitchen. You have to put that stuff in the bank. I have some words for those kind of loans. Some of them might deal with maybe an exotic dancer loan or whatever loan. It's like, people think that you need to keep a bag of cash.
Yeah.
Right. And it's great that you have the money, but you have to document where it's from and the sourcing of that money.
And even like you're losing money too. You're like, that money is just sitting there and it's not doing anything. I mean, you're literally, even if you have your money in a low yield savings, you're losing money, let alone if it's in your freezer stacked in like foil or whatever happens. I don't know. And that's no knocking anybody. What we're trying to say to you is you can't just put the money in the bank. So when I'm talking to somebody, I'll say, okay, what do you want your payment to be? Such and such in the things. Okay. How much money do you have available? Well, I have $10,000. Okay. And now I have to specifically ask, is this money in the bank? And they will say no. And right off the rip, I'm going to say, okay, do you have someone that has this money already in their bank that can gift it to you? Because the money that you have, wherever you have in your home, in the safe, whatever is undocumented funds and cannot be used. It has to be, if you're going FHA, it has to be in the bank for at least 30 days. Conventional would be 60 days. So if you are falling in love with a house and we're behind the 8 ball, that now money is not going to be there in time. It just won't.
Yeah, funds to close have always been an issue. And one of the things is like, okay, Harvey, it's trying to save, especially, Ange, as you mentioned, these renters. I mean, the rents keep going up. It's hard to save money.
It is.
And my Aunt Muriel, God bless her, she's not listening to the show, of course, but she told me a long time ago, Harvey, do the direct deposit. And that was a key thing for me in life and being able to save. And we're not talking a whole lot of money because there's seller's concessions and there's opportunity. So you've got your check, direct deposit into your account. Now, if you need some money to get by, you're going out, you can go to an ATM machine, take your cash out. That's a great way to budget. Now you're seeing it. You went to the machine. Now if you got to go back to the machine again. All right, you're dipping into some of that future savings you're going to use to purchase a house.
What are you talking? I need you to break that. You're telling people to take money out of the ATM and save it.
Direct deposit. Now your money's there, so it's documented. It's automatically there. So now you can budget yourself. So now you know that if you're I'm going out tonight. You went to the ballpark.
Okay,
you got the Comerica machine there. I use that ATM machine.
How do you know I spend all my cash? How do you know I do that every time?
Hey, spend
yeah. He's reading your diary.
Do you do that every time? And then you got to go back to the machine. Well, if you go to the ballpark, I mean, you got to eat there. I go to the ballpark full, and as soon as I get there, I'm hungry. So there's no way to keep the cash in your pocket. But it's a great way, just a little thing like that. And reach out. So anyone out there is considering home ownership, if you're a little on the younger side, this is new to you. See if your employer, if you're constantly cashing your check, you're running up to the party store, you're going to the bank and cashing your check, you're going to burn that money. So I'd really like the direct deposit. Maybe just a little helpful tip I'm throwing out there. I don't know.
Yeah, direct deposit your payroll, but leave it there. Leave it there, because you can get the direct deposit and then you turn around and you take the $1,000 out or whatever it is, right? And the other issue, again, to button up this cash for closing and the funds, if you take out, let's just say $1,000 or you get paid $1,500 and then you all of a sudden take out $1,500, but then you turn around and put in $1,000. Again, that's now undocumented funds because you did not put in dollar for dollar what you took out. So if you are in this position and you're like, okay, well, I deposited 12, but I kept $1,000 for me or whatever it is, that's a problem. Everything you do with finances and your money when you're getting a mortgage, I have to draw a direct straight line to it. And if I can't draw a straight line to it, the underwriter is going to open up the book of your loan and be like, what is this? We can't use it. And so I assure you, for every lender out there, we're not trying to chase the money down the rabbit hole that we don't need to. And there's a reason why we say the things we do so we can avoid that frustration for you later.
Of course, we have some testing going on. So I started taking the classes. We always do our continuing education. I got into the BS, the Bank Secrecy Act, and the AML, the anti-money laundering. And that's where it all comes from, is the government had set up these guidelines, and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and the FHA and VA, they all have them out there. So it's not our rules. It's just they set it out there to avoid some bad players out there in the community. So again, whatever you do with your life, before or after you're thinking about home ownership, that's on you. But if you're thinking about becoming a homeowner, let's say August, okay, right now, folks, let's really watch how these bank statements are going to look. Let's see what money we're putting in there. We don't care what you spend. We just care what you're depositing in there and where it came from. There has to be a paper trail.
Yeah, and so I want to kick it to my girl, Angela, because she is really good at this. Like she's good at staying in her lane, but she's also, you're so well-versed. You know how to pre-qualify your buyers a little bit. You know how to have those conversations. And we talk about you like you're like the mayor of the world, right? You are.
She's going to be a mayor one day. She will be the mayor.
Manifesting merit. We're manifesting mayor.
You have such good energy, but you are so educated. You're dialed in with the finances, and you're not just looking at it transactionally. You are really helping these buyers. And me and you hand in hand, like really the trajectory of what you're doing 5 minutes, but also 5 years from now. Where are they going? How are we going to keep them there? And how can they really like take their life to the next level? And you're so good at that.
Thank you. I think you just have to be really empathetic because we are not all of the same area of life, the chapter of life, the knowledge. I'm the first person in my house who became debt free, who built a house, who paid my bills, who actually own my cars, don't have car debt. It's a blessing. And when I came from Middle America, I came from the Motor City. My grandpa was an immigrant from Italy, didn't even speak English. Thank you, Henry Ford, for hiring my grandpa, Angelo, many moons ago. Mm-hmm. And that's where I get my name, Angela. But also, like my mom worked midnights at the factories. They weren't versed in finance and background. And so being empathetic and caring about where people come from in their story, to know where they're starting, to know where they want to finish.
Yes, I agree with that. It's listening to the things that things that people don't say. and being empathetic. You're absolutely right. Go ahead.
Let's roll off to our first call this morning. We're going to take your calls at 248-539-9797. I don't have the computer up. No texting today here. Just give us a phone call. I'd love to talk with you again. 248-539-9797. Roy, good morning and welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning from wet Toledo, Ohio.
Oh, you're getting the rain. Okay, we got some sun peeking out right now.
Keep it down there.
Yeah, I can hear you guys loud and clear every day. I'm a huge Detroit sports fan, so let's just say I listen quite often. My question is, I've been in my house for a little over 20 years. I'm looking to possibly get another house. I don't know if I'm going to sell the one I'm in. I have adult children that grew up there. They might want to have something to say about that. That's totally something they don't even know about yet. But my reason for calling is friends of mine have been telling me about this organization, NACA, N-A-C-A. And the way they've explained it to me, and a couple of them have gotten houses through them, and they're glowing reviews, but I wasn't in on the process at all, so I don't know. They were saying for people who don't, in the immediate future, have a bigger down payment to put on, they somehow figure out with your income, with your formula, with whatever, and the house that you're looking for or houses that they help you look for because they do have their own realtors and whatnot, to make it budget friendly so you're not going underwater from day one for the purpose of having a possible generational property for the future.
To my knowledge of the NACA, you have to be a first-time buyer. So that would not apply to you.
Yes, I am, because the house I'm in, my mother-in-law had passed away. We had went through a bankruptcy, which is why we're in the house that we are in. She had passed away, so it's actually in my wife's name. So the house is either sellable or keepable, depending on what my children say, but I've never purchased a house in my name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that might work. I actually brought it up on my phone real quick, and I wasn't familiar with it, so I'm going to be diving into it a little bit this weekend, but I'm glad you brought it up because there's so many families out there. What program is there? And Roy, you're throwing out this NACA, this NACA. It sounds like a great opportunity, and just one more opportunity out there for families. So, Roy, if you sold the house and the kids don't want it, you'll take that and you're thinking about maybe purchasing a home or maybe just downsizing a little or maybe just moving the location. What are you thinking about?
Well, the house I've been in was remodeled the year before we moved in. And in all honesty, you still have the same borders around, the same linoleum kitchen floor and whatnot. So it's not going to, there's nothing wrong with it other than it would need to be totally updated, you know. I think if I sold it in this market, I could probably at a low end get 120 because in this area, and my girlfriend lives in Akron, and prices are like double there. I don't understand the price differentials with houses in different areas, but it's relatively, granted, it's higher than it was 5 years ago, and we all know why that's happened and whatnot, but I could low end get 120, high end maybe 140. So that would be something. But with that, I have 7 grandkids, and part of that I would want to go towards them if I did cash the house in, because college ain't cheap. So if Papa can put in, he's gonna put in.
For sure, yeah. So we can definitely, get you in touch with Angela after, and she can actually run comps to see what really the value of the property could be, so that way you can make an educated decision on how you want to move forward. Or you could retain the property, buy another one if you guys can afford it, and keep that in your family, or use it as a rental property or what have you. There's a million different ways we can move in this space, as long as it's putting you in a lateral position for you and your family. So I definitely agree.
It's not something I'd be doing within this calendar year. I honestly just left the house, and it was on 97.1, and you guys were talking about that, and whatever, God put it on my heart about this, organization I had heard about, and I had not heard one bad thing about it. It's not something I'm moving on now because, like I said, the house is.
Yeah.
Roy, thanks for calling. We're gonna move along here, but just coming up on a break. We really appreciate the call. We call anyone who gives us a call here on the show. We'll give you a call back and follow up and find out if we can help you get approved. And a lot of times you just want to say hey to somebody. Let's just find out what your house is worth.
I just
What's
love
your
that.
address?
Shout out to Roy. We appreciate that call and the fact that you dial in and being a longtime listener. We're definitely going to call you after the show, and we're going to dial in how we're going to help you.
A lot
for
of free
sure.
services we offer: market analysis, free pre-approval, setting you up for the future is what we do. 248-539-9797. We're up against a break. When we come back, all your calls. All righty, welcome back to the show. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show in our 25th year. Angela Lee joins us from eXp Realty, of course, a big player, and Ange works all around Metro Detroit. So if you want to get in touch with her, you call us at the office, and Becky Alley will set you up. And just really a great person and a great real estate agent. Hey,
she is a boss. She's a boss. She's a boss babe right here.
Come on the formal stuff here. We, of course, are brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, and you can reach us at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker, powered by CMG Home Loans. NMLS 1820, equal housing lender. You know what I also like about us, Becky? Our corporations all around the United States. We're based out of California, and we do everything. So we got an extra 3 hours every day of getting some transactions done and stuff. And now that we're going to be getting closer to owning a bank, again, We're in all 50 states, and some of the great programs we offer, including the all-in-one loan and some really unique mortgage programs out there. So definitely, if you're looking to become a homeowner, we'll find a way to get you in.
Yeah, start the conversation like Roy did, our first caller, right? He doesn't know what he's going to do when he's going to do it. Could be 6 months from now, 12 months from now, could be never, and he could just, stay where he's at. But you have to have the conversation, a very high level conversation. Let's unpack what you're trying to do. Does it make sense? We're not afraid to tell you no. We've done this. We've bought and sold our own real estate. We've built houses. We've paid off houses. And a lot of the expertise is like, even what Angela was saying, it's like, you can be the first in the generation in your family to do certain things. And some of it is we did the right thing at the wrong time. And then you can do the right thing at the right time. And it's kind of using our expertise and our knowledge and then what we do day in, day out to help you live your best life and achieve your goals in home ownership.
Can I just also say, please do not take advice from people who don't have the life that you want. Do not follow the path of destruction, please. And I say that humbly because, like, for my example, I didn't have someone in my family who did it first. I had to be that person. And so I look to people like Becky Alley. I look to people with knowledge that can lead me, mentor me, coach me. And we're here for free for you guys. I give advice. I know Becky does, counseling, therapy, whatever you need
Yes.
to get you to understand that a lot of people in your circle, your family, the people around you, your coworkers, everyone has an opinion, but some of them are not professional opinions that are relevant.
They don't see it. And that's okay. Like people just don't see it. And I have those daily conversations. Sometimes I'm talking to someone and I'm like, ooh, no, I'm going to just pivot away from that. Got to be like the Teflon Don, right?
Pivot.
Yeah, you got to be your own Teflon Don, right? I can't be around negativity, I love you, but if you're not going to add value to what we're trying to do, like, okay, like I'm just going to listen, but not take it to heart. And I actually had a really good conversation with this really young woman. She was, I don't know, maybe 16 years old. And, she was talking and then she said something so profound. She's like, you know what? She's like, I'm not trying to listen to people that I don't want to live just like. She said the exact same thing that you said to me. And she was 16 years old. And she was like, but she's like, I look at you. She's like, and I want to follow those footsteps. And I like, it almost brought tears to my eyes because to be so young and be so dialed in, instead of her focusing on like boys and the things, she was really like talking about what she can do for her future. We got into college talk and all this stuff. It was anything and everything other than what a normal 16-year-old would want to talk about, you would assume. But those are like those diamonds are like the needles in the haystack. And when you can latch on and you can dial into someone like that and really shape someone's mind in a positive way so they can change their lives, yes, please. And that's what we do every day with home ownership.
Yeah, and it's a salute out there. I always like to throw the sports in there, the little sports analogies in there. But that's what we do. We're raising young adults, and we're teaching them some way. And they're looking up to us. And there's a lot of great things you can do to show them the way. And maybe they don't see it now. Maybe they don't see this or realize what they can do in life. And because maybe they're family members or they didn't have that motivation at home. So, right, get more positive people around you and dream big, make those dreams as big as you can. Angela Lee, I love having you in there. Hey, we got to get some buyers back out because let's talk about the inventory. It appears in some of the articles out there I've been reading throughout the U.S., the inventory has picked up. Maybe closer to 4 to 6 months. Of course, regionally here, we do see a little bit more homes on the marketplace. Now, buyers, you're getting a little control back. And then we'll talk about the rates too, but let's just talk about the inventory first. Definitely a few more houses on the market.
Yes, I just had 2 more go on the market. I mean, people want to sell. They have equity in their home. There are different chapters of their life, different reasons for selling. They want to cash out. Maybe they want to move to Florida or somewhere sunny. Hey, I respect it. Maybe they want to get another, like you said, another investment property. Maybe they thought that their great-great-grandchildren were going to take the property, and hey, guess what? They're not. So there's a time and a place, and every story is a little different on why they want to do what they want to do.
Like, so Florida, that's a market where, so I have some buyers or sellers in Florida and those homes have been sitting a little bit. It's a completely different market over there. And
right.
I feel like Michigan, like we talk about, comes from like up and outside and then like up to Michigan. But it is like this market's everything because you have those micro pockets. Like, you have some that are going to go over ask and they're going to fly off the shelves. And then you have other ones that have been sitting for 30 days. And, in some, it's like you have 2.5 months supply. Okay. So it's technically a seller's market, but buyers are more savvy now. There's concessions. There's everyone is getting a deal right now. This isn't just, even though there's a lack of inventory, that's why this market is so unique because there is a lack of inventory, even though more is coming on every day, more supply. but buyers are still getting deals. They're really going toe to toe with these sellers and really negotiating very aggressively. But also that has to do with the amazing real estate agent, like someone like Angela, that is on that buyer side, that's going toe to toe and be like, no, we need concessions on this transaction because XYZ might be wrong with the property, right? It's not just one-sided anymore.
No, and you prepare the sellers for those kind of things as well. Like, hey, this is something that in our toolkit that we can offer to make us kind of stand out in this market, especially if you're a jumbo loan, if you're $500,000 or higher, 450. We're talking about percentage of people and who can qualify and what they want in that house. And hey, do we need to give a credit for something? This is not a turnkey home. You're actually comparing your property to a brand new build. Mm-hmm. And some of these brand new builds are on an acre, 5 acre. So how do we stand out? How do we set your property apart? Not everyone has what I call a golden toilet.
You shouldn't have to be exactly. You shouldn't have to be reminded by your real estate agent or looking to list your house. You don't need them to remind you that you haven't redone the kitchen. Look, if it's got Formica, it's probably not up to date. Or, I mean, obviously, you know, if you have the older cabinets. And a lot of times, some cosmetic repairs might get you a little bit more money. So definitely we'll dive into that a little bit. But no doubt these lower mortgage rates have been exciting. The lowest mortgage rates truly in a month. That didn't happen by chance. The bond market's been responding to a lot of economic data in the past couple of days, this past week. Yesterday's consumer-focused inflation data delivered most of the benefits. So there are some good things, but the data created some buzz about the Fed funds considering a rate reduction. Again, all the experts, Becky, they predicted, last year, hey, the rates were going to go down last August and September. Didn't happen. Mm-hmm. Then they said it was going to happen in February or March, and it didn't happen. And now we're talking about August, September, and maybe there's a little window of opportunity where the whole market, again, Fed funds rates it's not a direct correlation to the mortgage rates, but that will start easing up on things. And again, home equity loans would come down, car loans, and then mortgage rates.
Affordability is just plagued America here for a hot second. And so and that's where like our listeners, like when they talk about reducing the Fed funds rate, that does not mean the mortgage rates are falling to the floor. We're not going to see the 2s. We're not going to see the 3s on a 30-year fix. It's just not happening. But that could ease some of that credit card interest that you are paying. Okay. If you own a home, we can talk about doing a cash out refinance, how we can reset the baseline. That's the dirty secret that we talk about sometimes on air that doesn't get spoken about. You're going to hear someone be like, oh yeah, I got 3% interest rate, but they're also dying because they're overextended on their credit cards because they overbought and now the taxes are higher and now we have to reset some things. So you can use the equity in your home in a positive way as long as we're putting you in a lateral position. So I want to get into that, a little bit of a cash out refinance after this break.
Fantastic. We're up against our second break of the day, 8:27. If you're just joining us here. And of course, the weather is going to be decent today. This has been a crazy spring. We'll talk about the weather another day. Good news is we got Tiger baseball and a lot of sports here. Keep it on 97.1 The Ticket, 248-539-9797. You want to talk to the mortgage real estate people? Give us a call. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, 8:30 if you're just joining us, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Take all your calls, 248-539-9797. I'm Harvey Freed. She's Becky Alley.
Yeah,
She's
and sweet
great.
dreams are made of home ownership, so give us a call today. Good music and playing right now.
Oh, I love that one. Annie Lennox, of course, Eurythmics. And Angela Lee, of course, joins us here from eXp Realty. The conversations, again, we were just at break and we were talking about sizing up and what families do. We always, we bring the kids and the family in. And Becky said something that has me chuckling. But, I mean, yeah, things change quickly. And you grew up in a home. And I want to get your dad's because it's Father's Day.
Yes, Father's Day weekend.
Your Father's Day quote. I'll let you roll with it.
Yeah, so we come from, like 4 generations working for automotive, Ford Motor Company. And, I grew up in a bungalow, whatever. And, we had 1 bathroom and there were 6 of us, right? So I have 2 sisters and a brother. And my dad always jokes that when it's time to go on his tombstone, he wants it to read, love is 6 people in 1 bathroom, because that is a thing, right? And then now our generation is like, we have those experiences, and then you want to get a toilet for every butt cheek in the houses now, right? And it's like, we overdo it, but then like you can't replace those memories we had, like sitting on top of each other, and just like the rotation, the very strategic, like automation rotation to use the bathroom when we're getting ready for church or something like that when we were younger. It's like looking back on it, like we were so blessed. Like it seemed like chaotic, but there's love in that chaos. And like we were very fortunate to like have those experiences together.
Angela, that home ownership changes your family. It just does. And I would have young people come in and they just got married. They had a couple young babies. I go, folks, I would always say this to families is, you haven't even met your best friends yet. No, like, what do you mean by that? I mean, your kids haven't met their best friends for sure. Home ownership builds community. Community just builds your kids up, your self-esteem, your sense of worth, not to mention the generational wealth that comes from home ownership.
Yes, I love like the community that I live in, like subdivision, suburbia, New Boston, shout out Huron Township, the Waltz Fairs today. There's going to be some mud volleyballing later. So 11 a.m., go watch it.
That's it. Where is that, Walt? Where is that?
The Waltz Fair in Huron Township.
Everyone down there knows what it is. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's our hometown fair.
See, okay.
That's cool.
This is
That's
what
fun
I love
to go
Angela too, is she is so dialed into community and her family and knows what's going on. Like that's why like you are the perfect politician, because like, but when you walk in the rooms though, you're not just shaking hands and kissing babies because you want to, like you're really good. It's genuine. It's a genuine connection that you really have with people. And like, I'm so blessed to be in a direct connection with you for sure.
Thank you.
Yes, the mud volleyball. I don't think I think I might come down and watch some mud volleyball. I got a million things going on.
And monster trucks. I mean, come on.
That sounds like
all Americana.
It's all Americana. That's not no normal fare, okay?
All right. However, we talked about this little bit here of a few extra homes being on the marketplace. It doesn't mean you're going to walk in and obviously undercut somebody. You're not kicking tires. Again, if the house is it all depends on that price range too. If you find somebody that's in moving condition, you're a first time home buyer, 200, 250, it's probably going to go for that or even higher, because a moving condition home says to the buyers, look, you can move in right away. You don't need to redo the kitchen, the bathroom. It doesn't need a new roof. You're going to be good for 5 to 10 years. You don't need a new furnace. So it's key to really understand what city you're looking in and get that knowledge from an expert real estate agent.
Yes, thank you for saying that. We've had a lot of properties, Dearborn Heights, Melvindale, even in Wayne County, a lot of those areas. This is exactly the conversation. I have a lot of buyers who are like, Angie, I'm just going to lose out. I'm like, why do you feel that way? Why would you say you're going to lose out? I said, we have a toolkit. We have so many ways to negotiate this. You need to have a very good realtor who's knowledgeable, and you need a very good mortgage expert like one of you right here. Because when we unpacked that conversation, it came down to, well, I have a mortgage and a cash buyer is going to come out and rob us of this house. We beat out cash buyers 99% of the time. Mm-hmm. And so I need people to understand that your pre-approval and going with a mortgage absolutely can make you win in this market. So there's this stigma on having to compete with cash, and really knowing who you're working with, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to put in a great offer, you can win.
Yes. And the truth is too, cash sometimes it still takes 2 weeks to close. I just wrapped a transaction in 8 days to run same as cash, because we are strong enough to do that. So if the timeline is the issue, the mortgage is not going to prevent you from winning that offer. Like 8 days, start to finish, under contract. And the real romanticism of that conversation is it was under contract for 30 days prior to getting to me. we had nothing to do with the loan, and it, again, we won't be the first conversation sometimes, but we're going to be the last. Someone came to me, there was a problem with it. If it didn't close by this past Friday, it was going to, and I think I talked about it last week actually, and here we are, closed. And that comes with that expertise of knowing how to walk down the line in a very efficient way to get it done. So cash is not king in this market. And I feel like sometimes that comes with a lack of experience sometimes on and there's no shade, but like on a listing agent side, people think, oh, it's going to be quick. And they teach that. And it's not. Cash is not always going to be winning in this market if it's the professionals that are involved that really make and break the transactions. It's not the financing.
Yes. And if we talk about seasoning your cash, like we have in the opening of the show, cash is not always king.
Yeah.
They can't source the cash. Maybe I have an LLC and I'm the sole member of LLC Angela the Great, marry Angela one day. But whatever my LLC is, yes, I'm the sole member, I have my documents. It doesn't mean anything if I'm going to bait and switch the seller. What does that mean? I came in with this offer saying I'm going to be cash on this LLC with money that's not seasoned, which is going to be an issue. And then I want to switch it into a mortgage anyway. I think being fully transparent, having all the conversations is so vital for
no
success.
one is showing up at the closing table with a suitcase like you see in the movies where they like click it on the side and the suitcase
Right.
opens with, like,
I love the bags of money.
Yeah, the stacks of the thousands.
Sure.
Like that's not happening. Okay, the title company will not accept that.
It would be so awesome, but no.
It sounds cool, but it doesn't happen. Everybody, put your money in the bank.
Put your money in the bank.
All right, if you're listening right now, we have open lines, 248-539-9797. Just want to talk with us and say hello. Of course, there's a lot of cool things always in Metro Detroit going on here and across the state of Michigan. Again, we always talk real estate and a little bit of negotiations. It all depends what area you're in. Again, I had some clients looking to buy in the Boeing area, and I said, what's going on up there in Boeing City? And what's going on is there's not a lot of homes. And yes, you're going to pay top dollar, but appreciation should be around the corner. If you're looking to retire, you're looking to start a whole new life for your style, for your family. Up north, it's just absolutely beautiful. Traverse City's always out there getting these awards for one of the nicest areas. And in the state of Michigan in general, probably one of the best states to move in looking forward. We do have a lot of water here, by the way. And
people are leaving Florida to come to Michigan.
Let's
just put it out
there.
there.
They're leaving everywhere to come here.
Yes, because we are affordable still. We're like a kept secret that people are, it's not a secret
Right on.
anymore, which is unfortunate for us, right? Because we've been kind of like under the radar. But you have, nothing beats a summertime in Michigan. Nothing.
Or a fall, or a spring.
Or a winter even.
Or a winter, snowboarding and skiing.
Yes.
And ice fishing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hockey. No, I snowboard and stuff. Everyone knows I snowboard, but like it makes it enjoyable.
Yes.
There's something for everybody here in Michigan, and we don't have to deal with like the horrible, awful weather that is plaguing even like Florida, where your homes are just completely annihilated. And but you can drive 4 hours and be like on Torch Lake and look like you're on the Caribbean River. I mean, the Caribbean or whatever. It's Michigan is where it's at, and I have a lot of investors that are coming out of other states to be here in Michigan. So come check us out. You know what I mean?
All right. The numbers came in for May sales. They were a little bit less than last year. I'm not going to give the exact numbers because I'm not even sure they're accurate, but it said something like they were down this May versus last May was like down maybe 1.8%. Good years come and go in real estate, but one thing is appreciation seems to be pretty steady. We're in that trajectory upwards. So again, if it does, your home does not worth 10% more every year, okay, it's probably 2 to 5% on the low side. But that, again, is just building wealth for you and that sense of community. So again, give us a call, 1-800-LOW-RATE, Capital Mortgage Funding. That's where you can reach out to Becky and I, and it doesn't cost anything. Don't give anyone your money. You don't have to fork over hostage money is what we call it. Again, everyone wants to wrap you up. You click a button, all of a sudden 20 people are calling you.
Ooh.
Worse than that is we're going to get into that credit report stuff. If you run your credit report and don't opt out, this is legislation that's been out there in Congress, and it's back on the table. So good news. I got that report through the National Real Estate News passed this week that it's going to be back presented again. So what's been going on out there is you run your credit report because you're thinking about becoming pre-approved and you clicked a button. If you don't opt out and they run your credit report, now you're getting calls from strangers. And I'm not talking.
It's an obscene amount of calls.
It really is. They go, Harvey, oh my gosh, I just got 10 calls. Did you run my credit report? I said, yeah, I thought you opted. Whatever that conversation is, you definitely, who's calling me? And I'm going to put the warning out there again. Got something as a text. It said Comcast on my phone. I'm not registered with Comcast. It's not, that one happens to be under my girlfriend's name. Sure enough, and no offense to Comcast or anything, they had nothing to do with it. There's bad players acting like they're these companies. And, or Harvey, my Amazon account, don't have one. And I'm keep getting texts saying, and I click buttons and I'm talking to these people. And I'm pretty aggressive on the phone, obviously. And I say some mean things and then they say them back, then I know they're no good. And I say, and it's just crazy out there, the amount of fraud. So be very careful. I know I threw that in the conversation today
no,
to throw it out there.
Very relevant. Okay, so
that's all going on right now when you run your credit report or click buttons. Okay,
yeah, so like I have a first-time seller and they're like buying for the second time, right? Yes. And so now we are moving in both circles. They're selling their house or buying their house. Well, we had to go from a soft pull, so a soft pull doesn't even show up as an inquiry, but now we had to do a full-on credit report. And I always have the conversation, hey, I call it the bottom feeder effect. You're gonna get some unsolicited calls from people that are going to allude that they're associated with me. They are not. I make sure everyone has the individual cell phones of everyone on my team. Right. And if you get a phone call and you're not sure, you let me know. You text me, I'll say this is legit or it's not. Right. So they're like, and I was like, and by the way, add yourself to the do not call list immediately if you have not done so already. So we have these preemptive conversations because we know the floodgates are going to be opening for these unsolicited calls. So then they're like, Becky, you told me. But I literally received 70 phone calls in 2 hours.
That's insane.
So what Harvey was mentioning is there's legislation to make this, it's predatory. In my opinion, it's predatory. And you get confused. And if you have an older individual that's like, it's happening hot and fast. And when you're buying, you're getting a house, it's a lot or it's already emotional anyway. And then you don't know. And then I'm calling you, but you're afraid to answer the phone. It's not doing anyone any good. So if you're part of the trigger leads, like, just stop. I don't know. I get it. People got to make the money, but like it is a disservice because then you attach that to us and it has nothing to do with us. It's your name and number was sold by the credit bureaus. No other information other than it was a mortgage inquiry and it's your name and your number. And that is really what's happening. So add yourself to the do not call list and just know that we have your back and we're doing everything we can behind the scenes to protect you and your information, but also prepare you for the things that we can't control.
Right. So because it didn't pass yet, what you can do, you can take control of your own life. And again, you could opt out, OPT, opt out. If you Google it, it'll take you to the site. And then it only takes a couple of minutes. You could do it by phone or do it on your computer. And there's some serious questions there. But again, this will protect you in the future.
Yes, fraud is real. And we are not fraudulent individuals. We are real people. You can sit and look at me and have a cross-legged conversation. And we're here to help you.
All right. Keep it here on the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We got another segment for you before all the sports kicks in. 248-539-9797. We'll be back. All righty, we are back in the studio, 846. That's right, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, a 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. I'm Harvey Freed, she's Becky Alley. Becky, I got some baseball again. You know, I'm all passionate about my umpiring and a lot of games. We're doing a Royal Oak tournament, so a little salute out there to all the high school kids wrapping up. We're in the finals, I think, now. I haven't been following the high schools much, but 4 teams left. I think they played maybe someone played yesterday, and girls softball and all that great high school sports going on. And I'm so into baseball that all the kids out there hustling in the tournaments, local tournaments. I love this time of year. Hopefully the weather cooperates a little bit better and we have some nicer days out there. Drizzling last night again.
Yeah, but when you're playing under the lights like that, you get a little rain, whatever. It's like everyone's struggling to throw the ball the right way anyway. But yeah, Harvey umps on. It's a side hustle, and it's for nothing. It's not really a hustle. It's just something he just does. He just loves doing it because he was a hot shot baseball player back in the day. So now he gives back to these kids, and I love it.
No, I wasn't. I was with some hot shot guys yesterday. Hey, let's go and talk some mortgage and real estate stuff with Ralph. Good morning, Ralph. You're calling in from Southfield. Hey, go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, well, this is our situation. My wife and I, we retired. And 2 years ago, we moved from Detroit to Southfield. Based on our income, the mortgage payment was very reasonable. We was able to handle it. But what we didn't know was the amount of the tax increase on the property that would happen after it was uncapped. So our property taxes went from $3,500 when we first mortgaged the house to $9,800 within a year.
Oh,
so now it's kind of at the edge of our budget, making things kind of tight. So we're looking to move out of Southfield. But here's the problem that we're having. We made an offer on 2 different houses, not at the same time. But we offered $20,000 more on the first house. We didn't get the bid because we have a contingency. The second house, we offered $50,000 over. We didn't get the house because we have a contingency. The house sold for $5,000 less than what we offered because of the contingency. So my question is, what kind of a chance do we have to purchase a house when if you have a contingency is causing you to lose the offer?
Okay, so I love this call, okay, because this is real life. When you are buying and selling, obviously you don't want to be homeless, and you're using, some of the assets from the equity in your home to reset the baseline and put it towards the next house, because obviously there's also that little bit of a fear, right? The tax are going to encap again. You want to make sure you have a payment that you can afford. There's a million different things we can do. We even also offer a bridge loan where you qualify with the new payment. We don't have to hit you with the other payment, and that would make you technically not contingent. So, we can definitely talk about the financing part of things, and, even maybe with your real estate agent, like understand that there's a different way to kind of navigate that. And I want to get Angela's perspective on this, because this is an arena that she lives and breathes and she knows how to navigate very well. So on the real estate side, just a general, I want you to kind of tap in and kind of how you navigate a situation like this.
Yes, I always talk to you directly. You obviously will never be homeless, like Becky said. We're going to take care of you. We are going to negotiate and communicate 100% with whoever's selling the property that you're purchasing. And the bridge loan, like Becky said, is the best thing to do if you qualify, because it releases that contingency. So now you're just making a bona fide offer. The seller who accepts that offer has no worry in their mind. But I will tell you, there are times when you can get a contingency accepted. Mm-hmm. So please don't feel like because you've lost out a few times that it's not an option. I think it's how we approach that situation. And I know it can be frustrating at times, but when there's a will, there's a way. And I always tell buyers, sometimes things don't work out for a reason. Maybe you needed to make this call. Maybe we need to role play and go into some scenarios of all of your options. It sounds like you have more than one option available to you.
Yeah, especially if you're making in these over asking offers. I mean, you guys obviously are in a position to be extremely competitive in this market, which is key. And I think that what Angela's saying, and that's why I wanted to pull her in, because we vibe, and I knew she was going to go that way, because it's all about that conversation up front. You have to be able to reach across the aisle, shake the hand of the people that are buying the house, find out what their pain points are so we know how to navigate that, because I have quite a few offers that are being accepted, and they have to sell to buy. And the one I was just right before this break, they are buying and selling, and we found a buyer that negotiated, and now their offer is contingent, and it's like a line of things. And so you can definitely win in this market. And I'm sorry that your taxes went up. Maybe you should have had that. Someone didn't have a conversation with you, because that is a giant jump in those taxes.
Yeah, Southfield's got a little bit higher taxes. You're on cap in a property that's a really nice home, and
people don't have the conversations like they should with these buyers, and it's unfortunate.
All right, let me say this, and now Ralph, I'll let you have the last word. There's a reverse contingency. Sometimes you can do this the right way if you have great real estate agents. Have your house sold contingent upon you getting an offer accepted, and what that does is it puts the final numbers in your head, so you know what you're netting because you already got a buyer for your house. And again, people sometimes the house you're buying, maybe they need an extra month or two, so there's a lot of motivation. Finding out more motivation with the seller, doing the reverse contingency. And Ralph, you get the last word on your conversation. Go ahead.
Yeah. You said, you sound like you listened to this conversation I had with the realtor.
We've done it a time or two.
You did have that conversation then. If that's what you said to your agent, good stuff.
We have is a very nice home, but he said the same thing. He said, let's get pictures, let's list out. But the thing is, I'm kind of curious about listing, kind of hesitant about listing a house, because except for a couple of houses, we're not finding anything that's suitable for us. I said, how long is this going to take?
Yeah, and you're right. So that's why you have, that's why you have the conversation. You let them know that their offer being accepted is contingent upon you finding a home of your choice. Because as much as you're trying to find a house, someone else is trying to find a house too. So we need that inventory, and there's a way that you can leverage that in your way, because we haven't let anyone homeless, and you're in control over the timeline. So if they take 30 days to get the mortgage completed, and then you have 60 days occupancy to give yourself that time, that's a way that we can navigate that for you, where you don't have to feel stressed or you're going to be under the gun a little bit.
All right, Ralph, thanks a lot for the call. We're going to call after the show, and just to give you some more information and stuff. And sometimes we got to change things up a little bit or give additional information, but it sounded like he had a pretty intelligent conversation with his agent.
He did. You sound like you have an excellent agent. Kudos to them. Also, when you have your house sold, put it on the market, get it under contract. Now the stress is off of you, and now you can go find your dream home. The house you want might not be on market. Your realtor can be aggressive, get you that property off market, and get it under contract.
Yeah, so then when they're going under contract, to add to that is now they can say, we are under contract on the sale of my home. This is the closing date, and then they can have the conversation with the loan officer behind that one, so everyone knows it's buttoned up. It's all about the upfront conversation. Get it out there. Let everyone know how we're moving, and we're moving in the right direction, because this is not a market where it's sellers versus buyers. Everyone is in the same boat, same side, going in the same direction. It's a lopsided boat, because that's how you're going to really be successful in this market. It doesn't have to be scary at all.
All right, a lot of great things out there in real estate. We're coming up toward the end of the show. If you'd like to reach us all weekend long at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. That's 1-800-569-7283. You can always call the office here or the studio here. They'll get you set up with us, or just go ahead and Google Capital Mortgage Funding here locally.
Can I just shout out my amazing husband, Derek Lee? Happy Father's Day, baby. And if you need any conversation, consulting, just any advice at all, please contact me anytime. Angela Lee, yourrealtor.com. It's an honor, and thank you guys so much.
Yeah, it's like look and list with Lee is the slogan, and that means that she does it all. And there's no really one area or city that you're out here doing the things. And
I am global. You want to live in Hong Kong? I got you.
Yeah.
Italy, anywhere you want to go, I'm here for you.
Yeah, you have and it's all being dialed in with the right people, and that's why we have the top in the studio with us on Saturday mornings, because you don't know what you don't know. And not everyone is equal. And you need to have a really, really good team. The idea of I'm going to just sell, my house is going to sell itself. This is not that market. This is a very unique market where, you have to have professionals around you that do this for their full-time job. It's even part-time is difficult.
You might need to stage the house. You might need to go put some new mulch out in front, and really need that third opinion where someone is honest with you. And if any agent's coming to your house and just throwing a huge number at you, but not suggesting or making these analytical things about your house, and if they have nothing bad to say about it, it might not be the right agent. You do need someone who's optimistic about it, but's willing to tell you some little tougher conversation.
The honest truth. Yes.
Yeah.
Always.
Hey,
Yeah.
bags of mulch. I don't know. You get like 5 of them for 10 or 12 bucks at the
Yeah.
Menards or one of these stores
goes a
out there.
long way.
Mulch could really make your landscape look good, and flowers don't cost too much money either. All right, that music says we're up against the end of the show here. Really want to thank, we had at least one caller coming in, and thank all the people here for giving us this opportunity to share some great information. If you need a mortgage, be sure to call Capital Mortgage Money. If you need a real estate agent, Angela Lee, EXP Realty. For
Best of the best right here. Thank you so much.
There you go. Happy Father's Day, everyone.
Yep.
All right, sports coming up next. Keep it here. We're a baseball town. We got tons of it here.
Go Tigers.